So as y'all can see, this is a bit different for what I'm used to. The recording style of it is going to be more casual because this is my road trip Q&A that I posted a few weeks back. Well, at least the first part of it. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot more than just one part for this one because I had like 40 or so questions come in and I want to make sure I actually give y'all good answers to each of those. But where I'm currently at right now is actually just one of my neighbor's properties, and they have just a beautiful view over just the hill country here in, around Austin, Texas. And I figured I might as well just take a bike ride out here and just answer y'all's questions and, just have a good time with it. So of course, just like how my members get priority responses to their comments if they are a part of the credit club, I'm also going to be answering all of their questions here in this first installment of the Q&A. So if you do want to become a member, you can always do that by clicking the link down below. There's a little join button underneath the video, but also you can just actually click the link in the description. But of course, I will be getting to all of the questions that were left on that community post I posted a while back. I just want to get through all my members' comments first. So the first question and comment here comes from Robert Torres, and what he says is, have you seen apparently Chase is surveying random people about how they would feel with a higher tier card with Hyatt? I've seen the post on Doctor of Credit and it seems legit. If true, that could definitely sway me a bit more towards Hyatt for now at least. So yes, I have seen the rumors about this card, and of course we don't exactly know if it's gonna come to fruition, but I've been saying for a long time that I would love to see Chase release a luxury Hyatt credit card because honestly, all the other lenders out there, well not all the other lenders, but all the other hotel credit card ecosystems out there generally have a high tier credit card, because right now all we really have with Chase is the World of Hyatt business card as well as the personal version that has a $95 annual fee and doesn't really get you all that much. And I think that if they came out with a World of Hyatt luxury credit card, they could charge a really high annual fee if they gave a free night that's in a higher category than just a category 1 through 4 hotel. But on top of that, if they're going to charge a really high annual fee, just like the other luxury hotel cards out there, they're likely going to need to add some kind of like airport lounge access or maybe just some other like partner benefits that you can't get on the other Hyatt card. But honestly, I would probably just apply for it if it gave you a higher tier free night and gave you better access to higher status with Hyatt. That's a big issue with the Hyatt cards right now, is that you don't get automatic access, which is a good and a bad thing. Good because it makes you actually work towards status with Hyatt, and that means less people have it. But bad because if you're somebody in the credit card game that's used to getting a card like the Hilton Aspire to give you like the highest status you can get with Hilton, there's no way to do that with Hyatt right now. The next question here comes from my buddy Stan the Credit Frog, and what he asked is, would you ever consider buying a Tesla or any other electric vehicle, or would you prefer to stick with conventional gas-powered vehicles? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to getting an electric vehicle at all. I mean, for one, the prices have just been too high for me to justify right now, but granted, I did get a pretty expensive, relatively expensive for me, gas-powered car recently in my 4Runner. But I think the biggest drawback, besides just the price of like the newer electric vehicles, is that you just really can't road trip with them very well and stuff yet because the ecosystem just hasn't been built out enough. Like, I would personally hate to have to sit at a charger for 30 minutes just to, get enough juice to keep going for a couple hundred more miles. To me, that's still the beauty of a gas car, is that it takes you less than 5 minutes to fuel up and you're back on the road. If I had an electric car for the road trip that I just went on, that would have been really, really annoying and would have taken me hours longer than it did without having that electric vehicle. The next question here comes from Woodsy, and he says, given current trends with hotels, do you feel that Hyatt points program is going to be devalued anytime in the near future? And if it does, would it affect your view of them and make them any less valuable? So this question does kind of fall in line with the previous question I had about Hyatts, and my answer would be that if Hyatt is going to pour into actually building out a good luxury hotel credit card, you would imagine that their points are going to remain valuable. But at the same time, we are seeing some more like economic trends in the credit card game specifically of things just constantly getting devalued, including Hyatt technically, earlier this year. I would say that devaluations are always going to be a part of the game, and if they did get devalued, then that would change my opinion on Hyatt. But at the same time, their current valuation is so much higher than the other hotel programs for the most part that they would have to get devalued quite a bit for them to be like, any less competitive than they are now. So I guess my answer would be that I would not be surprised if we saw devaluations continue to happen, particularly with Hyatt, but I don't want to speak that into existence by any means, so fingers crossed it doesn't happen. All right, so the next question here comes from somebody that I did get to meet at the Las Vegas Creator Meetup, that being Ed Bailey. And what he asked is, how do you like the new American Express? It seems they're changing constantly. First pop-up jail. Today my annual fee hit on my Delta Gold card. messaged them about canceling it, and they drew up the cancellation forms without even offering retention. I asked them for any retention offers, and the agent said no. Now, the day that I'm recording this, I literally heard from people in the credit community Discord that I run with Daniel Braun and Mark Plymale, of course linked down below as always, that Amex also recently changed the welcome bonus eligibility terms on their cashback credit cards too, to make them basically worse. And in reality, that doesn't even shock me at this point, because I think Amex is really just disappointing people lately, including myself. I mean, they lost my business when it came to the Platinum card because they put me in pop-up jail a few months ago, and I haven't even checked if I'm out of it yet because I just haven't wanted any Amex credit cards lately because they just have put a bad taste in my mouth. But at the same time, the next credit card I want to apply for is the Hilton Honors Business credit card, so I guess I'm technically going to be going for an Amex card pretty soon. But yeah, I guess my opinion on them right now is just that, I don't know, I'm not very happy with them, I guess is really what it is. It makes me feel good that Chase is my favorite lender and they've at least remained consistent. The thing about Amex is that I feel like a lot of people are married to them and their credit cards and they just live and die by them, but in reality, we're seeing here that no bank is your friend. Amex is not your friend, Chase is not your friend, none of these banks are your friends, and I think that's just being put on display with Amex right now. Next up is a question from the guy that comments first on every single one of my videos, and that is Ahmad. What he asked is, when do you plan on moving out again, because you said your house is a temporary stay, and will you be purchasing your own property? If not, is the built card possibly in the picture? So to be honest, this still is a temporary move. I just moved back in with my parents for a little bit before I decided what city I wanted to move to next. But I've had some recent big life changes that have kind of opened up the possibility for me to move anywhere. And because of that possibility, I'm not 100% sure now where I want to go at all. I do have a few ideas that I'm thinking through, but I guess to answer your actual question here, I don't plan on moving out until probably after the holidays this year. And whenever I do move, I will not be buying a property right away. I don't have the money for that right now, and also not the best time to buy, arguably, which means that yes, the built card is definitely going to be a card in my future. I still might even add that before I move, depending on how, all my applications kind of pan out over the next couple of cards. But I think that the built card is basically a no-brainer for anybody that rents, and honestly, a big part of me wanting to get it now is that I am a credit card YouTuber, and I'd like to get hands-on experience with as many cards as possible, the built card being one of those. The next question here comes from David Ruiz, who asked, do you have any plans for your 5 50,000 point certificates? And those certificates he's talking about are from my Marriott Boundless credit card that I got approved for recently. And honestly, right now, I haven't even looked into what properties I want to use those for exactly. I'm not worried at all about not being able to use those certificates, but it's more like, where do I want to go? So honestly, if y'all have suggestions for me, please leave those down below, because I might honestly just go on whatever trips y'all suggest now that I have the freedom to really just travel everywhere with this job. David also had a follow-up question where he asked, you say Italy and Greece are at the top international travel destination wish list. What are your girlfriend's top 2, and would you consider going to hers before yours? Now, this is that big life change I was talking about. I assume this would come up in one of these questions, and I obviously wouldn't just talk about this on the channel for no reason, but me and my girlfriend actually decided to split ways a little bit ago, hence why I actually went on that road trip by myself and got to, work a lot more and visit my friends and stuff like that. And don't worry, this was a mutual thing, and it's all for the best, but I did just want to let y'all know about that for future reference. And to answer your specific question here, at least the second part, yes, I would definitely put my girlfriend's priorities on the top of that list, whoever that girlfriend might end up being, because in reality, the person that I'm with would likely be wanting to go to a lot of the same places I do, so it would just make sense. And of course, there's always the old saying that a happy wife equals a happy life, so honestly, that's the answer to your question right there. Ahmad also had a follow-up question here asking, what was my dream job as a kid? Now, that's actually a really good question, really interesting one at least, because I'm trying to think of what the heck I would have even said back then. And funny enough, the one that comes to mind is that I used to say that I wanted to be a paleontologist, the people that go and dig up all the dinosaur fossils and stuff like that. I'll stand by it. I think that's a pretty sick job still. If anybody wants to hire me to do that, let me know. But honestly, I would say that YouTube has always been in the background of my mind as something I'd like to do, at least as a hobby. So I think my childhood self would be like really happy to know that I'm now getting to do this full time, even though it's in a capacity that I might not have expected, obviously, as a kid. Matt Clausen had a question as well, asking if there's any non-credit card news I'm excited about, games, tech, gaming, etc. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't really care for a ton of news. I guess most of my other hobbies include things like, watching football, basketball, playing sports, hang out with friends, working out, like all of that kind of stuff. And there's not really any big news that has come out there recently, except yesterday, I think, there was an announcement about Damian Lillard going to the Bucks. And if y'all don't care about sports, you don't care about that, but that is pretty big news in the sporting world. And I think that's going to make for a really interesting NBA season, so I guess I'm excited about that. And just so y'all know, I am a Spurs Bears fan, so take that for what it's worth. And I also got a question from John McKinstry, who's been a longtime supporter of the channel, just like a lot of the other members are that are here in this video. But what he said is, first off, I want to wish you safe travels. Is your road trip going to be only in Texas, or will you be traveling to other states? Now, I actually am back from that road trip now, but the route that I took, just so y'all know, is that I went from Austin, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. Then I drove into Hilton Head, South Carolina. After that, I stayed in Charleston, South Carolina. Then from Charleston, I was supposed to go to Destin, Florida, but I ended up actually going to Savannah, Georgia instead to stay with one of my buddies. And then from Savannah, Georgia, I drove a little bit of the ways back and stayed in Pensacola, Florida. So those were the 5 or so stops that I took on my road trip, but I am happy to be back in Texas and getting to film more videos like this for y'all. I mean, granted, I didn't stop filming videos while I was there, but being back in the office or just in this environment that I'm in today is just really nice.